Hey Aquarius, I need to share something with you today that came through in the cards. And honestly, it's one of those readings where the energy is so specific, so pointed, that I had to sit with it for a moment before even starting this. There's someone in your energy right now, and I want to be really clear about this from the beginning. This is a woman who carries a lot of hostility toward you. I'm not talking about mild dislike or someone who's just having a bad day. This is deep, calculated animosity. She wants to see you broken down. She wants to witness your pain. And there's this almost obsessive quality to how she's fixating on finding something she can use against you. Some secret, some vulnerability. Something she believes will give her power over you or will finally bring you to your knees. Now, before we get into what the cards are showing me about her specifically and what's really happening here, I want you to take a breath. Because what I'm seeing is also incredibly revealing about karma, about justice, and about how the universe handles people who operate from this level of darkness. The cards I pulled for you today are so illuminating, and they're going to walk us through not just who this woman is, but what's actually happening in the unseen realms around this situation. So I pulled Queen of Cups, the Magician, King of Pentacles, and Death. And when I saw these cards come through in this order, there was this moment of absolute clarity about the entire dynamic at play here. Let me start with Queen of Cups, because this card is giving me so much information about who this woman actually is. Now, normally when Queen of Cups appears, talking about someone who's emotionally intelligent, nurturing, intuitive, someone who uses their emotional depth to care for others. But here's what's fascinating and what people don't always understand about tarot. Every card has a shadow side, and when a card appears in a reading about someone with malicious intent, we're looking at the corrupted expression of that archetype. This woman, this Queen of Cups, in shadow. She's someone who has taken all of that emotional intelligence and weaponized it. She understands people's feelings. She can read emotional undercurrents. But instead of using this gift to heal or support, she's using it to manipulate and wound. Think about it like this. The Queen of Cups knows exactly where your soft spots are. She can sense vulnerability the way a shark senses blood in water. And she's not just accidentally insensitive or thoughtlessly cruel. No, this is calculated emotional warfare. What I'm seeing is that this woman likely presents herself very differently to the outside world. To others, she might seem caring, might seem like she's got it all together emotionally, might even position herself as some kind of emotional authority or counselor type. People probably confide in her. They probably think she's deeply feeling and compassionate. But what they don't see is how she collects information about people's weaknesses and then stores it away for later use. She's like an emotional data collector, gathering intel on everyone's pain points, insecurities, fears, and with you specifically, Aquarius, there's something that has triggered her on a deep level. Now, this is important to understand. Her hatred of you isn't really about you at all. People who hate this intensely are always revealing something about their own internal landscape. My sense from the Queen of Cups here is that you represent something to her that she either cannot have, cannot be, or cannot control. And for someone who's built their entire identity around emotional manipulation and control, it's absolutely intolerable. Maybe you have an authenticity she can't fake. Maybe you have emotional freedom she's never experienced. Maybe you walked away from something or someone she desperately wants to hold on to. Maybe you see through her in a way that terrifies her because she's built this whole facade. And you're the one person who never bought it. Whatever it is, you've become a mirror that shows her all her own inadequacies, all her own darkness, and instead of doing the internal work to address that, she's decided you need to be destroyed. The searching for your secrets is particularly telling with Queen of Cups energy. She wants to find that one thing, that piece of information that will give her leverage. She wants to discover something about your past, your present, your private life that she can weaponize. She's probably already tried to dig into your business, asked around about you. Maybe even tried to gain access to your social circles or your personal information. There's this invasive quality to her energy. Like she feels entitled to know everything about you so she can find the ammunition she's looking for. But here's what I'm also seeing in the Queen of Cups. And this is where it gets really interesting. All of this obsessive hatred, all of this energy she's pouring into wanting to see you suffer, it's actually poisoning her. The cup suit is about emotions and the heart, and when someone corrupts that energy so completely, when they turn their emotional power into pure venom, it doesn't just flow outward. It fills them up. She's drowning in her own toxicity. Every moment she spends plotting against you, every thought she has about your destruction. It's like she's drinking poison and expecting you to die from it. Now let's talk about the Magician, because this card is absolutely fascinating in this context. The Magician is about manifestation, willpower, taking the resources you have available and directing them with focused intention to create a specific outcome. So on the surface, this might sound concerning. Is she manifesting something against you? Is her focused intention going to cause harm? But here's the thing about the Magician energy. True manifestation requires alignment. It requires that your will, your actions, and universal truth are all working together. You can't manifest something that goes against the fundamental flow of karma and expect it to work the way you planned. And that's what's happening here. This woman thinks she's the magician. She thinks she's cleverly manipulating circumstances, pulling strings, using her resources to orchestrate your downfall. She probably feels very powerful in her scheming, very in control, very much like she's the one directing this whole narrative. But manifestation doesn't work the way people who operate from ego and malice think it works. You can't use magician energy to harm someone who hasn't harmed you and expect the universe to back you up on that. What actually happens is that all of that focused intention, all of that willpower she's directing toward your destruction. It's creating a karmic debt that's accumulating around her like unpaid bills. Every thought, every action, every moment she spends trying to engineer your suffering. The universe is taking note. The Magician also represents skill and capability. And I'm seeing that this woman is actually quite capable in certain ways. She's not stupid. She's probably resourceful, probably knows how to work systems and people to her advantage. She might be successful in worldly terms, might have some position of influence or authority. This isn't some random person with no power. She has tools at her disposal and she knows how to use them. Which is exactly why her choice to use those tools for darkness, rather than light, is so karmically significant. But here's where the Magician reveals the flaw in her whole operation. The Magician is also about illusion versus reality. In traditional tarot imagery, the Magician stands at a table with all the tools of the suits laid out before him, one hand pointing to the heavens and one to the earth, channeling divine will into material reality. But when someone tries to use that energy disconnected from divine will, disconnected from truth and justice, they're not actually channeling real power. They're creating an illusion of power. They're performing tricks, not magic. So yes, she might be able to create some temporary disturbances. She might be able to cause some surface-level problems or inconveniences. She might even succeed in spreading some rumors or causing some people to see you in a negative light for a moment. But actual manifestation, real creation of lasting change in your life, that requires something she doesn't have and can't access as long as she's operating from this corrupt energy. She can put on a good show, but at the end of the day, it's smoke and mirrors. And smoke always clears. And mirrors always reveal the truth eventually. What the Magician is also telling me is that there's going to be a revelation of methods. The Magician's tricks work as long as the audience doesn't know how they're done. But the thing about someone who's obsessed with destroying another person is that they eventually get sloppy. They eventually reveal themselves. Their mask slips. People start to see through the illusion. And when that happens with Magician energy, when the trick is exposed, it's absolutely devastating for the Magician. Their whole act falls apart. Their whole identity as this powerful, capable manipulator just crumbles. Now we move to King of Pentacles. And this is where the reading really shows us what karma is doing behind the scenes. The King of Pentacles represents material stability, worldly success, abundance, and long-term security. He's the archetype of the builder, the one who creates lasting prosperity through steady work, sound judgment, and ethical practices. And in your reading, Aquarius, this card is showing up as the karmic response to everything we've been talking about. While this woman is busy trying to tear you down, while she's wasting her energy on hatred and schemes and searching for secrets, You are being positioned for something solid, something real, something that actually matters. The universe isn't just protecting you from her attacks. It's actively building something for you that she could never touch even if she tried. King of Pentacles energy is about legacy, about things that last, about building something of genuine value. And what I'm seeing is that your focus, your energy, your attention is being directed by the universe toward creating actual stability and abundance in your life. While she's trapped in this cycle of obsession and negativity, you're being given opportunities to build, to grow, to establish yourself in ways that are deeply rooted and not easily shaken. This card is also speaking to me about protection through prosperity. It's like the universe is saying, you know what? Instead of even engaging with this woman's energy, instead of worrying about what she's doing or what she's trying to find out, we're just going to elevate you to a place where none of it matters. We're going to put resources in your hands. We're going to bring opportunities to your door. We're going to surround you with people who recognize your value and want to support your success. And all of her schemes, all of her hatred, it's just going to bounce off, because you'll be operating at a frequency she can't even reach. The King of Pentacles is also very much about reputation and respect, earned through character. You don't buy this kind of standing. You don't manipulate your way into it. You build it through consistency, integrity, and actually delivering value over time. And that's something this woman fundamentally doesn't understand. She thinks power is about control and manipulation and knowing people's secrets so you can leverage them. But real power, lasting power, King of Pentacles power, and that comes from being someone people trust because you've proven yourself trustworthy. From being someone people respect because you've shown yourself respectable. From having abundance because you've created genuine value. So while she's digging around trying to find dirt on you, trying to uncover something she can use to harm you, the universe is building your credibility in ways that are actually unshakable. Even if she did find some secret, even if she did try to use it against you. The King of Pentacles energy around you means that people who matter would see through it. Your reputation would hold. Your foundation would remain solid. Because you've been building something real. It's not an illusion. The other thing King of Pentacles is showing me is that there's a practical, grounded energy available to you right now. This isn't about fighting fire with fire or getting down in the mud with someone who wants to wrestle. This is about simply focusing on what actually matters, what actually builds a good life, what actually creates lasting security and happiness. Pay attention to your finances. Pay attention to your career or business. Pay attention to your home and your health and the tangible aspects of your life that contribute to your well-being. Let her waste her time on hatred while you invest your time in things that actually yield returns. And then we have death, which is the final card and honestly the most powerful one in terms of showing us what's really about to happen with this whole situation. Now, I know death card can sound scary, but in tarot, death very rarely means actual physical death. What it means is transformation, ending, the kind of change that's so complete that what comes after is unrecognizable from what came before. It's the card of metamorphosis, of necessary endings that make way for new beginnings. In this reading, death is showing me that there's a complete ending coming to this woman's ability to affect your life. Whatever access she thinks she has, whatever power she believes she holds, whatever schemes she's been working on, there's a finality approaching that's going to shut all of that down. And it's not even going to be because you do anything specific to stop her. It's because the natural consequence of her actions is catching up with her. It's karma in its purest form. Remember how we talked about the Queen of Cups drowning in her own poison? How the magician's illusions eventually get exposed? How King of Pentacles represents the building of something she can't touch? Death is showing us that all of these threads are coming together in a conclusion that completely transforms the dynamic. This obsession of hers, this hatred, this search for your secrets, it's going to end. Not with a whimper, but with a definitive, undeniable transformation. What I'm seeing with death here is that this woman's own actions are going to be her undoing. The universe doesn't even need to intervene with some big dramatic justice moment. She's creating her own ending through the choices she's making every single day. Every moment she spends consumed with thoughts of your destruction, she's destroying something in herself. Every resource she diverts toward harming you, she's taking away from building her own life. Every bridge she burns in her quest to isolate you or turn people against you, she's isolating herself. Death is also about revelation and truth. It strips away pretense. It removes masks. It shows things as they really are. And there's going to be a moment, maybe a series of moments, where this woman's true nature becomes undeniable to people around her. Maybe she overplays her hand. Maybe she attacks you publicly and people see through it. Maybe her obsession becomes so obvious that even people who were neutral start to question her mental state. Maybe in her digging for your secrets, she reveals far more about herself than she ever discovers about you. The thing about death energy is that you can't negotiate with it. You can't manipulate it. You can't control it. When death comes, when that transformation is ready to happen, it happens. And all the scheming in the world, all the magician tricks, all the Queen of Cups emotional manipulation, none of it can stop death from doing what death does. The old form dies. The transformation completes. And what emerges is something new. For you, Aquarius, this death card is actually incredibly liberating. It's telling you that you don't have to figure out how to protect yourself from this woman. You don't have to spend energy worrying about what secret she might find or what harm she might cause. You don't have to try to defend yourself or explain yourself or prove yourself to anyone, because the ending is already written. The transformation is already in motion. Her chapter in your story is closing, and there's nothing she can do to prevent that. But there's also a message here about your own transformation. While she's experiencing the death of her power and her schemes and her ability to affect you, you're experiencing the death of whatever it was in you that made her hatred possible in the first place. Maybe it's the death of people-pleasing. Maybe it's the death of caring what everyone thinks. Maybe it's the death of some old version of yourself that was more vulnerable to this kind of energy. Something in you is transforming too. It's making you absolutely untouchable to people like her. Death asks us what we're willing to let go of so that something better can come. And I think for you, part of what's dying is any concern about being liked by everyone. Any need to have people understand you who are determined to misunderstand you. Any attachment to being safe from other people's projections and hatred. You're transforming into someone who simply doesn't care about the opinions of people who don't matter. Someone who knows their own worth so deeply that someone else's attempt to diminish it just seems absurd. Someone who's so focused on building their King of Pentacles reality that they don't have time or energy for drama. The Death card is also showing me that this ending, this transformation, it's going to be thorough. This isn't a situation where she backs off for a while and then comes back. This isn't a temporary peace followed by more conflict. This is a complete severing, an absolute ending. Whatever tie or connection or dynamic that allowed her to be in your energy in this way, it's being cut at the root. And once death does its work, what's dead stays dead. It doesn't come back to life. It doesn't haunt you. It simply stops existing in the form it had before. Now let me tie all of this together for you. Because when I look at these cards as a complete story, what I see is absolutely profound. You have this Queen of Cups woman who's consumed with hatred, wants to see you destroyed, who's searching for secrets to use against you. She thinks she's the magician, thinks she's cleverly orchestrating your downfall. But the reality is that, while she's trapped in that toxic cycle, you're being backed by King of Pentacles energy, being given opportunities to build something real and lasting. And death is coming to completely end her ability to affect your life, to transform the whole dynamic so thoroughly that she becomes irrelevant. This is karma in action, Aquarius. Not karma in the sense of you getting revenge or even needing revenge, but karma in the sense that the universe maintains balance, that people who pour their energy into darkness eventually get swallowed by that darkness. That hatred is its own prison. That someone who spends their life trying to destroy others eventually destroys themselves. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to fight back. You don't have to defend yourself. You just have to keep building your life. Keep focusing on what matters. Keep moving forward with integrity. And here's what I really want you to understand. This woman's hatred of you, as painful as it might be to know someone feels this way about you, it's actually not about you at all. You're just a screen she's projecting onto. Whatever she thinks she hates about you, It's actually something she hates about herself or her own life. Whatever she thinks destroying you will give her, it's something she believes she lacks and blames you for having. You could be anyone. You just happened to trigger something in her that revealed her own internal darkness, so don't take it personally, even though it feels personal. Don't let it make you doubt yourself or second-guess your choices or live in fear. Because the cards are showing me very clearly that this situation is resolving itself through natural karmic justice. Your job is just to keep being yourself. Keep building your life. Keep focusing on what brings you joy and stability and growth. Let the universe handle the rest, the searching for secrets thing. I want to address that specifically because I know it can create anxiety. What is she going to find? What if there's something embarrassing or shameful? What if she discovers something I don't want anyone to know? And here's what I want you to understand. First of all, everyone has things they'd rather keep private. Everyone has moments they're not proud of, mistakes they've made, things they wouldn't want broadcast. That's part of being human. It doesn't give anyone the right to dig through your life. But it also doesn't mean you're more vulnerable than anyone else. But more importantly, the King of Pentacles and Death together are telling me that even if she finds something, even if she tries to use it, it won't land the way she wants it to. Either people will see through her motivations and question why she's so obsessed with exposing you, or the information simply won't be as damaging as she hopes. Or you'll be in such a solid position by the time she tries anything that it just won't matter. The universe is protecting you not by making you perfect or by ensuring you have no vulnerabilities, but by making those vulnerabilities irrelevant to your actual success and happiness. I also want to talk about the emotional toll this might be taking on you. Because knowing someone hates you this much, knowing someone is actively trying to harm you, that's heavy. That can make you anxious, hypervigilant, distrustful. It can make you second-guess who you trust, make you withdraw from people, make you feel unsafe. And I want to acknowledge that those feelings are completely valid. This is a real situation with a real person who really does wish you harm. It makes sense that it affects you. But what I'm seeing in these cards is also a call to not let her win by allowing her hatred to change who you are or how you live. If you become paranoid and closed off and bitter because of her, then in a way, she's already succeeded in diminishing your life, even if she never actually finds any secret or causes any tangible harm. The Death card transformation for you is partly about not letting her darkness infect you. It's not letting her poison seep into your spirit. You get to maintain your openness, your authenticity, your joy. That's actually the best protection you have. Think about it this way. The Queen of Cups in shadow is someone who's completely lost touch with genuine emotion. She's manipulated and controlled her feelings for so long that she doesn't even know what real love or connection feels like anymore. And that's her punishment, really. Not some external consequence, but the internal reality of living in that emptiness. You, on the other hand, you get to still feel things fully. You get to still connect authentically. You get to still trust and love and be open. Don't let her take that away from you. The magician reminds us that we all have power. We all have the ability to direct our will and create change in our lives. She's using her power to try to tear you down, but you can use your power to build yourself up. You can use your focus and intention and resources to create exactly the kind of life you want to live. That's the choice every single day. Do I spend my energy worrying about her? Or do I spend it on things that actually improve my life? Do I let her live rent-free in my head? Or do I evict her and fill that space with thoughts that serve me? King of Pentacles is really clear about this. Practical action, tangible results, focusing on what you can control. You can't control her hatred or her actions, but you can control whether you check your bank account and make a plan to improve it. You can control whether you apply for that opportunity or start that project. You can control whether you nurture the relationships that matter or let them fade because you're too consumed with worrying about someone who wishes you ill. Every choice you make to invest in your actual life is a choice that makes her irrelevant. And death. It's that complete transformation that's going to happen regardless of what you do. But it will be so much sweeter, so much more powerful. If when that ending comes and she's completely removed from your energy, You look around at your life and realize that, while she was busy hating you, you built something beautiful. While she was searching for secrets, you were creating success. While she was drowning in poison, you were growing in power. That's the ultimate victory. Not over her, but for yourself. One more thing I'm seeing in these cards. There's something about this situation that's actually serving your evolution, even though it's painful. The death transformation isn't just about her leaving your life. It's about you becoming someone who's truly unshakable. Someone who knows that other people's opinions, even their hatred, doesn't define them. Someone who's built something so solid that external attacks just bounce off. Someone who's done the internal work to not need everyone's approval or understanding. This woman, as twisted as her intentions are, is actually functioning as sandpaper in your life. She's scraping away everything that isn't essential. Everything that's weak. Everything that's still vulnerable to external validation. And what's going to remain when death completes this transformation is pure gold. The version of you that's so secure in yourself, so grounded in your own truth, so focused on your own path, that people like her simply can't affect you anymore. Not because you've built walls, but because you've built wings. So here's what I want you to take away from this reading. Aquarius. Yes, there's a woman who hates you and wants to see you destroyed. Yes, she's looking for secrets, trying to find ammunition. Yes, her intentions toward you are genuinely dark. But the cards are showing me very clearly that karma is handling this. That while she's trapped in hatred, you're being positioned for abundance. That while she's creating illusions of power, you're building real stability. That her time affecting your life is ending completely. Your job is not to fight her, not to defend against her, not to worry about what she might find or do. Your job is to live your life so fully, build your dreams so completely. Focus on your growth so intensely that she becomes background noise you barely register. Trust the King of Pentacles process of steady building. Trust the death process of transformation and endings. Trust that the universe sees what's happening and is responding with justice. And maybe most importantly, don't become like her. Don't let her hatred make you hateful. Don't let her darkness dim your light. Don't let her search for your weaknesses make you hard and closed off. Stay open. Stay authentic. Stay in your power. Because at the end of the day, the best revenge is not revenge at all. It's becoming so genuinely happy and successful that she becomes nothing more than a footnote in your story. A brief moment of challenge that ultimately made you stronger. The transformation is happening, Aquarius. The ending is coming. And on the other side of this death card, you're going to emerge as someone who's absolutely untouchable by this kind of energy. Someone who's built something real with their King of Pentacles focus. Someone who sees through magician illusions because they've learned to value truth. Someone who's experienced the shadow of Queen of Cups and chooses to express emotion in healthy, authentic ways instead. You're not just surviving this situation. You're evolving through it into the most powerful version of yourself.